All right. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Back to Believing Bible study at Dream Big Leadership Church. I'm Pastor Butler, and I'm here with some special guests that I'm going to introduce you to in a few minutes. Before we get started, I want to welcome you all to the Dream Center, and we're not actually in the sanctuary today. We are in the sanctuary. You guys remember every second Tuesday at 6 o'clock, but we do have our special guest here. So I want to welcome you. Before we get into what we're going to talk about today, because I'm super excited, I'd love for you guys to share our time tonight. So if you're watching via Facebook Live, if you could share our time tonight with somebody who may not be in your local church or may not be occupied at this time, I think it'd be very helpful. And also, we'll be live on our website at dreambigleadership.org. So for those individuals who aren't on Facebook, can always go to our website and visit with us. Amen. So I want to greet you all in divine love, in the absence of my favorite person in the world, my beautiful wife, Pastor Tanisha Butler, the Dream Big um, leadership team, and the Dream Big Leadership family. We say welcome, 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 and thank God for you all being here on this evening. Um, I'm super excited. I have two people here who I dearly love and I think are very special. And if you're from the Dream Big family, you already know who they are. But some of you all, this may be your first time meeting them. I have Guy Dotson and Drena Dotson with me this evening from Five Loaves and Two Fish. And they do real ministry, as me and my wife always say, and they have some of the biggest hearts that I've seen um, in the body of Christ. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and then I really want them to come today because I want you guys just to hear their heart. I'm not going to preach a sermon. Nobody's going to preach a sermon. We're just going to have a conversation. And I want you guys to hear the amazing ministry that they do and the things that God has put on their heart. I think it's just going to be a blessing for us to hear that tonight and actually inspired Pastor Tanisha and I to broaden our scope of ministry and really fulfill the Great Commission. So, without further ado, we're going to turn it over to Guy and Drew to just let you guys introduce yourself and however way you want to do
Well, Pastor Antoine, appreciate you and Tanisha inviting us to be up here tonight. Once again, we're with Five Loaves, Two Fish over on Lakeshore Drive. I'm Guy Dodson, and my wife, Drena Dodson.
Thank you. It's our honor to be here tonight, and we just love getting to know y'all and the Dream Big family all together. And, yes, we started Five Loaves Two Fish right over a year ago, and it has been such a blessing to us. So, yeah, we're really excited to be part of the community.
it. Amen. So, some of you all don't know. So, our teenagers, um, we don't we don't actually have room to fit them in our sanctuary on Sundays. So Guy and Drina gracefully they let us use their building on Sunday morning. So we drive our kids over to Five Loaves and Two Fish, and our kids every Sunday want to go um, because they love the building and then they love all the snacks that you guys have set out for them. But we appreciate it, and I think it speaks of their heart what ministry is supposed to be about. So I don't know what we would do if we didn't have them. I probably would have our kids outside at the church. But I certainly thank God for you guys doing that. And we reached out to a lot of people, but you guys were the only person to answer, people to answer the call, so we appreciate that. And they have a heart for kids like we do, so we'll talk about that later. But I want you all to tell the people um, how five loaves and two fish got started.
Drena has to tell that one. It was her vision.
Well, I have to go kind of far back, and I'm not going to go too detailed, but Guy and I started with our foreign mission. We felt God called us to foreign mission, and we worked within that for several years. Within that, we had the call, both of us at the same time, to sell our house, downsize, sell everything, and that we didn't need these material items anymore. His plans, it didn't fit into his plans for us. So we did that. we sold everything. We sold our house and we began looking for a new home and for God to lead us. And when we came out to look at the property on Dilgleek, we were turning down the street and we saw changing directions at that time. It said changing directions.
That's right. I forgot
Food
about
pantry.
that.
And as we came around, I pointed to it and I told Guy, I said, I have to know about that place. I have to be a part of it. He's like, we don't even live here yet. You don't know. And I'm like, no, I have to know. And we did buy the property, little townhouse right there on Dilgley.
Right.
And within 6 months, I was up there and changing directions, walking in the door,
Yeah.
saying, hey, what do y'all do here?
Yeah. Mhm.
And that's where it all began, and getting to know them. And then when Miss Beulah was going to have to, I hate to say close up shop, but she was having to leave town with her daughter, so she thought. And so we knew that the food pantry would no longer be in existence if we didn't do something. And so at that point, we knew God was calling us to take over that food pantry.
Amen.
And I can't say that it was anything that we ever knew we were going to do. We felt that we were called into foreign missions, and that had to do with the downsizing. Well, that just shows that you don't always know what God has in mind.
Right.
Now, everything we did on the mission field in Africa, Belize, El Salvador, all has prepared us for what we do at Five Loaves. And when we went into the building, we thought, well, okay, we'll let the food pantry happen out the back and we'll just open a business in the front. And COVID hit and Lord spoke again. No, that's going to be ministry from the very front door to the very back door. It's going to be my building. And we are just stewards. And so that's what's happened. So now we've got the food pantry, of course, is going. We started a diaper bank. Tutoring program will be in a few weeks. We'll start the, what is the Love Well namesake, where we help people who are in jeopardy of being homeless, teach them how to maybe to handle their finances and apply for jobs. And just the possibilities are endless. Just whatever the Lord calls us to, we're willing to do.
Just feedback on what Drena said, it's been a blessing. And it's just, once again, Pastor Antoine, his church family here opened their hearts up to us. They have the same vision that we do. And so running parallel vision with Pastor Antoine and Tanisha just makes things a whole lot better for us. We have the same vision that the Hub Downtown has, and starting a partnership with them. So it's not just Drena and I doing this. God has given us the vision, but He's given us the partners and relationships outside our doors to help the communities.
Amen. One of the things that we love about you all is that you all love kids like you. Right? So tell us a little bit about your passion and your desire to help kids. What God's put on your heart. I'm sorry.
Well, we know that the kids, I mean, well, Jesus loved the children.
Yeah.
He always
First.
surrounded them. Right, exactly. And they are our future. They're the future of the church. They're the future of Christians. And if we don't train them up, then we're not following what God has told us to do. And within that, we want to promote healthy families. We want to promote healthy lifestyles for the children, healthy eating, whatever we can do for the children. We have like Christmas blessings that focuses on the children, but we make sure that the focus is not on the presents, but on loving on the child and introducing Christ to them, and being able to find a way into their lives so we can be a part of it and love on them and have different activities up at Five Loaves that concentrate on them. We make sure even within the food distribution, if there's a little one in the back seat, this time it was popsicles. We'll ask mom, can they have a popsicle, and run in there and get them popsicles or give them a special cookie or, something, just something that says, we love you, you're special. And like with letting the kids come over, I mean, whenever we talked about the youth coming over, we were all over that because that's what we want. We want to open our doors and have a place for children to come. To know they're loved.
I think of you all's place and remember my own upbringing because I grew up in Boston. And, really in the streets and didn't have really a place to go for a lot of my youth. But it's so interesting. There's God always sends somebody across your path. And there's a difference between, I think, giving people stuff and maybe housing people. But when you run into someone who genuinely cares and shares the love of Christ, like even when you become an adult, you never forget that. Like I remember just two pivotal people in my life. People have helped me along the way. But I remember two pivotal people that, like when they embraced me, you could tell it was a different kind of embrace. Like when they loved on me, you could tell it was a different kind of love. And I think you have a rough background, you come to a point in your life that's a crossroad, you're gonna make a decision to repeat your past or forge ahead into the future. Oftentimes you need a reference point. You need somebody to remember, somebody to help you make that decision. And I just remember those pivotal people in my life saying, you know what, they gave me something to reach for. They gave me an example of what hope could look like. And so when I see you all work in the community, that's what I think about. And I know you guys are going to want to share names. Has there been any like specific families or kids that's been like that situation for you that you can remember that's kind of touched your heart and you know this family was assigned to you all to feel the love of Christ?
We have one right now.
Oh wow.
Oh, absolutely. Lives right down lives across the street from us.
Okay.
And so we connected through the food pantry with them. And we're working with the young man, actually letting him come up and do some work with us and everything.
Yeah.
He just graduated high school. So he, the young man's full of joy, more joy than I can ever imagine on my own. And he has his own battles, but he understands his battles. But he's just, like I said, just full of joy. He's anyone that gets around him. We work with Team Challenge sometimes. They'll come up and do some work with us and everything.
Yeah.
They were up there the other day when this young man was there, and a couple of guys from Team Challenge came up and said, "Man, there's something special about him." And so, yes, this family, not only him, but the mother and the sister, have been very, very special to us. And that's just one of many. There are several that have come through, and every time you think you're going to give someone a blessing, you receive a blessing. That's what we have done.
Yes, and we're wanting to give him opportunity to find his God-given gifts and then and what he can do for work. And so with bringing him in, and so like, we're going to try his hand at painting, does that work for him or what, the
Right.
different types of things. And so we can find where we can help him develop those skills and at the same time introduce Jesus. There are some issues that, a little rougher for him than most. And so, yes, we just are feeding into him and gave him a graduation party. And just loved on him and let him know you're special. And then same thing with his mother and sister. And just because before you can really show and give gospel, a lot of times in the community, you have to gain trust
Right.
first. And you have to let them know that you love and you have their best interests at heart.
Right.
And then you have the opportunity to really share
Right.
once you develop that relationship.
I think what you said is so pivotal. Before people have an opportunity to see Christ, they see us first. Right? That He exemplified what He would want other people to see, and especially kids, they understand genuineness and authenticity. A lot of times, when we look at scripture, when we bring it to church, we have one to ourselves, and I think that's important. So tell us a little bit about your church. I love your church, and I love your pastor. Tell us a little bit about your church.
So Drena and I, we attend Celebration Church. They've been very special to us. Pastor says we're special to him.
That's right.
That's
right, yeah.
But through Celebration Church, Drena and I really got reconnected with Christ about 8 years ago. And Pastor David he's been a tremendous support for Five Loaves, Two Fish. When we decided to do Five Loaves and Two Fish, we weren't going to go back to the church. We were just, I lead it. David approached us and said, we want to be a part of what you're doing out there. And so, celebrations have been a big part of helping us get our feet planted, but pushing us out to kind of like a mama bird, pushing the baby out to fly. So,
Yes, and that's the beautiful thing about it is that Pastor David, and I see you do this with your flock as well, is has pushed us beyond what we thought we could do and showed us the confidence that he says, I'm here to support you. I'm going to give you this to help you, but you're going to do it. He, as far as like whenever we made that commitment, he's like, you can do it. He didn't want to try to come in and take over. He completely sits back in supportive role when we're like, oh, I don't know what to do. We can go talk to him. He'll give us advice, but it's up to us to do it. And I love that. And I know you do that for your people too. I've heard that several times.
Yeah, amen. I heard something probably about 7 or 8 years ago. And I embraced this philosophy, not just ministry, every area of my life. The person that does it all remains small. The person that does it all remains small. And I know there is some ecclesiology that teaches or believes that the pastor is the end all when it comes to church, and everything has to go through them, and they're the most talented, the most gifted, and things like that. But I do believe the words of Christ. If you want to be the greatest, you got to be a servant. And Paul said, it's the father's responsibility to store up for the kids, not the kids for the father. So I think a great example of great pastorship is how many people can you give to the purpose, to the giftings, and things like that. So I've always embraced that philosophy. Truly want people to be great. And I don't think if you're doing that, I don't think you're doing ministry. So,
Yes, definitely.
yeah.
Yes, that just reminded me of something, a conversation I had with Pastor David about the vision of Five Loaves. And we were talking, and I told him, I said, well, I have a vision for this Discovery Center, and we have the vision for Diaper Bank, and all these things that we're doing. And he said, and I said, but Pastor David, we don't have talent in any of those. That's not any of our. And I said, I just know he's going to put people in place. And he said, well, Drena, that's where I know y'all's heart's in the right place, is because you don't expect to do it all and be the leader of it all, and you're going to give space for other people, and that and that's what's happened. We have a young woman that's come in to lead the diaper bank. She's a nanny by trade. Her love is babies.
Wow.
And she's taking the reins on the diaper bank and doing it. And so we give her the space, let us know what you need, and let her run with it. We had a group that wanted to finish the prayer room. They're like, we have a heart for your prayer room. We're like, if you're praying into our prayer room and you have a vision and God's given it to you, it's yours to do.
That's right.
And the same thing with the tutoring program. We have a teacher that said, I want to do this. She knew we wanted it, but she's heading it.
Right.
And so it's a matter of that, it's not just Ghana, they're doing it. It's a matter of us giving space for other people
Right.
to try out their ministries,
Right.
to have a space to grow their ministries
Yeah.
and growing themselves. And it's the community that is getting the
That's
benefit
it.
of that.
That's it.
And that's where the fruits are coming
We're the many members of the body.
from.
Always.
Mhm.
There's a young lady who she used to actually attend this church. She's a phenomenal woman of God. She teaches people how to get into their purpose. Her name is Dr. Tamika Ford. She said something 4 years ago that stuck with me. Like, I think about it all the time. She said, empowerment, which is what we call it. She said, empowerment is when you give someone a piece of your power until they can give it all. Empowerment
Love that.
gives us another piece of power. And I thought about what we do as Christ disciples. That's ultimately what we do, whether that's living a platform or a skill set or knowledge or even money, until people can say, you know what, I can do this for myself, and they in turn around and do it, and then the body benefits from it, the community benefits from it. So, what you said, yeah. So, let's talk about what I'm most excited to talk about. Because my wife and I felt so unfulfilled in an aspect in ministry because we knew the importance of the Great Commission. And we knew the Great Commission extended beyond our zip code. And we had a desire, but I learned something from my apostle. She said, exposure expands expectations. You don't know what to expect until you're exposed to it. Like, so all we knew about missions were stories or what we saw on television. Then God sent us you guys who were actually hunting a lifestyle. And what you guys did for us, you normalized it. You made it seem reachable because we didn't know, right? So, and that's our heart's desire towards the latter part of our ministry. That's what we do. So, tell us about one how you guys gathered the mission. And I want to hear all the stories, all the great things y'all done. I've seen guys pictures, and they're inspiring. But y'all guys are doing some wonderful things in other countries, and I think you all have a perspective of the United States of America because you've been outside,
Most definitely.
and it's a lot different than what we see here. Right? A lot of stuff we brag on, we shouldn't be, right? And some things that we're not thankful for, we should be.
Exactly.
Yeah, so talk about that.
I'm gonna let God do the big part of that because, it's both our hearts, but
That's
there's
his
quite a
passion.
bit that he
Yeah.
has a
Yeah,
big passion. But what you just said is so big where a lot of times here in America, we think we're gonna go off somewhere else and teach them and that we're just gonna change the world for these people. But you get flipped on your ear because you go and you learn from them way more than the other way around. Yes, you do good, but you're there for several weeks or whatever time frame. Whenever you go into a village that has no running water, they have no electricity, no idea of what what that's like for their life to even have electricity. Even had a lady ask us how far we have to go to fetch our water in America. So she, doesn't have any other perspective. But she's Christian. It's a community that has become a Christian community. And they had the joy of the Lord. And what they exhibit in their joy of the Lord and their dependence on the Lord every single day is just like mind-blowing because we don't see that here in America the way that you see it there, and you don't see the pure joy that you get out of those communities. And that's where we really learned we didn't need stuff. It was in the way of our joy, not a source. It was,
Wow.
it drains your joy if you're not careful. But you go on with where we've been and
So the first mission trip that we went on was to El Salvador, July of 2017. Local pastor, local missionaries, Eric and Susan Renendez from what church?
kind of went to Calvary.
Calvary.
Mhm.
So they went to El Salvador with their two daughters 10 years ago, 11 years ago. The daughters were extremely, I think, 7 and 9 at the time, and they just picked up and went to El Salvador. And so, I mean, that alone was kind of inspiring to Drena and I. And Eric and Susan have taught us an awful lot. Eric's favorite saying is, it's just the hook. It's just the hook. So when you reach out and you do a block party or something of that nature, that's the hook, and you can drag them in. Now that you got a hook, you can give the gospel. So we learned that back in 2017. 2018, we took our first trip to Africa with Pastor David to dedicate a building to this village that they had built, and our hearts were just fell in love with the village. That's when we realized when the young lady asked us, how far do you have to go to fetch your water? I've got a picture of 2018, 2019. It's a pond that they walk down to get the water. 2018 it was full of water. 2019 it was dry. And so it was laid on my heart real hard at that time to put a water well in for the guru. But our the leader from that was showing us around, he told me, he said, you have to be careful, and this is something we've learned is when you do a mission trip is, your vision may be to go right in there and just get a water well and say, okay, here's your fresh water, drink it. If they don't understand the vision, if they don't understand the use of that water well, you can drill it, but they won't touch it.
Wow.
And so I asked him, I said, will they use this water well? He said, oh, by all means. He said they had a drought a few years ago, and what little income they had was selling livestock, their cattle, goats, and sheep. And they had a drought, and they lost their entire livestock. And because there was no water for livestock, there was no water for taking, drinking or anything up there. So it was rough on the village. So they do understand that if they had a water well, that'll never happen again. So proud to say that second yesterday for the water well over at the creek.
Amen.
So
Amen.
I get emotional.
Amen.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. So
Yeah.
and God told me, you do the first water well, I'll do 10 more. So
Wow.
time's coming. Time's coming. So 2019, we did Kukuru. 2018 also, we had the opportunity to go to Belize. Just booked tickets today. Drena and I are going back to Belize to help just for a vision trip down there so that we can, the young man that we went to see before, they started a farm. They feed 60 to 90 homeless 3 times a week. Now, they don't have the advantage that we have going to a food bank and getting food to feed. And so they started a farm and they grow the food that they feed them. They raise the chickens, the eggs and everything. And they sell part of the food so they have an income coming in, and then they turn around and feed homegrown food. So we're going down in end of July so that we can spend a week with them, help them prepare meals for the homeless, and then also go work the farm and come back and share with y'all maybe a vision trip that you and your church can take and go down there.
Yeah, we're hitting, take all the place.
Coming, Drena.
We're
Coming.
coming for you.
Coming.
And then every December, Celebration Church goes back to El Salvador for the shoebox ministry.
Yeah.
And it's just, we pack shoeboxes up and go down and give to children. And once again, it's not about the gift, but when you hand that child that gift, of a shoebox that just has mediocre things that we take for granted here in the States. That's all they get. It means a lot to them. It means a lot. So,
We've done that. I've been to El Salvador 4 years running.
Wow.
And, but you just learn a lot. And watching a child cry over getting a toothbrush because they're so excited to actually have a toothbrush really puts things in perspective. Our grandkids, they definitely don't say I'm bored around our house because they know. Well, actually, our granddaughter, she is 9 and she's been to El Salvador 3 times now.
Wow.
So she started at early age going over, and so your children are never too young to introduce them to the mission field as well, and to grow them up in it. And yeah, we also been to Malawi, Africa, with Africa's Hope, and the Bible college there is amazing. They are taking local pastors, teaching them up, and then planting them back into the communities. And they have a big part of translating the Bible into languages that also have not been translated into. That's a wonderful ministry. And guys also going to Honduras here in a couple of years. So yes, so our love of foreign mission has not changed.
Drena mentioned our granddaughter before we got South Florida. So first 2 years I wasn't able to go with them. This past year I got to go with them and got to witness her give her testimony in front of 300 other children.
Wow.
And at the age of 9, I'm sitting here shaking like me right now.
That's a big
but
deal.
It is. So just proud of the grandfather to stay there and watch her skip and give it. So.
Drena, you told me a story one time. I don't know if you know. See if you can tell it again because you told it to really touch my heart. It helped me to see the heart of the people that were there too. I think it was maybe like Coca-Cola or something, and how the things that they have, they try to bring those things to you all.
Yes, it's, you can't outgive the people. You're going over there and you know you've got all this material things back home. But they have very little in their village. But when we come in, they do everything they can to make us feel welcome. And they will go and buy us Coca-Cola because they think Coca-Cola America. And we know that's rough for them, yes. And so we had Coca-Cola, and the thing is God and I don't, drink sodas, but you're going to drink it because they've done this for you.
Yeah.
But also, it does not taste like American Coca-Cola.
I bet.
It is a different taste. So but they are such giving people. It's just amazing. And the one year, when we went the first year, I gave a purse to a young lady, and she was just super excited about the purse. Whenever we went back the next year, she came up to me, showed me she still had the purse, and I was going to wear it, and I forgot to. And she pulled out a necklace she made for me and put it on my neck. So it's like, it's constantly that. We're like always battling. You give me something, I give you something, kind of thing. And so, yes, when you go over and you spend time with Christians in other communities and these poor communities, and you see that they take that effort to show you how much you're loved by them. It's like, wow, that's I don't even know how to compare what that is for us. It would be like taking 90% of your pantry and not having any money to replace it and giving it to someone else with a joyful heart. And most of us, if we give 10% of it, we think we've done something.
And complain.
And so it really changes the perspective of what you do. And I just sometimes, yeah, I can't even quite, put it into words, what it's like whenever you've experienced that. I even had one lady give me a picture of herself. And she wanted me to give her one back, but we don't carry around pictures. And when we left the village, the guide told me, he said, Drena, that's probably one of the only pictures she actually has of herself. They don't have pictures. So her giving you the picture is a thing of honor that she would give it to you. Well, yes, and so I cried, and now that picture is framed and sits in our living room up on a place of honor to honor her with that. But that also sprung something that Guy and I started, and we've done in several communities, is a picture ministry where we take printers, that battery operated printers, and we've taken it back to Kukuru and took pictures of over 300 children and their families and would give them away. We've done that in Belize as well. And it's something you don't think about, but it just became a picture ministry where in Belize, we were doing vacation Bible schools, but whole families were coming so they could get pictures, and they were staying for vacation Bible school. So by one little Polaroid picture, you end up being able to witness to entire families, not just children. You don't think about that. And with the pictures, we were making frames and all, and you cut the pieces off of the picture to put it in. These children would want the pieces that you cut off. So we stopped cutting them to put them in the frames because they would pick up and want to take home the little pieces of paper you cut off of that picture. And that perspective, and what we here in America just throw away on a regular basis. But we look at it as we're in a place of privilege, but sometimes I wonder, are we?
Once again, it was, the picture was just a look. But when the rest of the family found out, hey, they're taking pictures, they came up to get a picture, but they got the work the same. So it's, like I said, here, he taught us you find the hook and you're fishing for men. And also get yourself.
And we bring that to America with the food pantry. We started with as people come around and pick up their food now, we give them the daily breads every month. They get the daily bread. And we have just done this on a consistent basis. Now we have people that get excited, or if you forget, like somebody you're working and you're like, they start to drive off and you haven't had, where's my daily bread? And so it's just like a beautiful thing because, that they're looking for it. Now, we've had people say, oh gosh, I'm reading it every day and I love it. And then now some of the people now ask for Bibles. And so we keep easy read Bibles at 5 Loaves. So anyone can, pick it up and read it. And so these are all things we've learned to bring back to the United States from going on foreign missions.
Seems like daily bread has been a staple in the Christian community for as long as I can remember. I always remember daily bread was everywhere. It's just a joy to see God still using it too.
Oh, yes.
I heard you all, and I wanted to ask you guys this. I don't think I've ever asked you this before. You talked about the hook, the ultimate goal is to present Jesus. How receptive are they to the gospel?
To the foreign, yes. Most of the time, it's pretty receptive. I mean, our key is to present the gospel, and we ask for salvations and things like that. But it can't stop there. The job's not done. So the key is that we're leaving, they have to be hooked into a church. So what Eric and Susan do is, and that's something we do as well, is to partner with churches that are Bible believing, Bible teaching churches. So when you have a salvation within an event, to have a place to hook them in for discipleship.
Gotcha.
Because God didn't just say save the world,
Right.
He said disciple.
Right.
After Paul was, after he was saved, he saw Jesus, the scales fell off. Then what happened? He went and spent time with
Right.
the disciples
Right.
before he went out. So that's very key, is to plug them in and be sure they have a community church. And Kukuru is a very strong church, so if you feed into the community, you plug them back into the church. A big thing that we do there is actually in support of the Kukuru church and helping them be strong so they can go out and witness to others. And we've done last time we went, there was the Frank Fisher Bible School going on, teaching the children. And then I did a leadership training while we were there. And because that's something that's key. And a really big deal, and it shows growth from the year before when we went. That was the second year we went, that I did the leadership training. The first year, Pastor David did it. And there were very few women that were in the leadership roles. You could see still there was quite a bit of oppression of the women, even in the church. When we went back the second year, they had grown so much in their Christian faith. They had put the roof on their church themselves that we were going over to do.
Wow.
They had sold cattle and sheep to put the roof on themselves. And the church had grown. There was more women in leadership.
Wow.
I felt a difference in the way they treated the women, and they let me do the leadership training,
That's a big
which
deal.
is big.
That's a big deal.
Yes, and I did it on how to grow your church by the Book of Acts, because
Yeah. That's the example.
Acts lays it out.
Yeah.
You don't need any human written how-to book.
That's right.
God laid it out.
That's right.
And so that's what I just took them through the Book of Acts. And so that's a big thing, is to support the people who are going to disciple the salvations.
Amen.
And sometimes you may not actually be going out and witnessing and just going in support of the person who is doing that.
Right. Everybody has their point.
That's right.
What has missions taught you all about yourself before you got into missions? What do you think missions can teach the church?
So the first mission that we were prepared to go on, there was a Bible study that we did, devotional, and it was when helping hearts. And so it hit my heart very hard because preparing for this mission trip, I was thinking, oh, we can go in and we can do this, and we can do this, we can do this. When helping hearts, what it taught us was find out what's available to them to begin with. Find out what they can sustain. And our mission going over to help a missionary should be to find out what they're doing. And so we went through this the Bible study and everything, and it really changed my perspective on what we were going to be doing when we went over. At the very same time, it's helped up here at 5 Loaves 2 Fish, because I can go into this community and think, okay, I'm changing the community, but I need to find out what the community can sustain.
Right.
And not change it to what's good for me, but change it to where they can sustain it. It's something they want to grasp onto.
Right.
So that's been the biggest thing, is having the mindset to help, not hurt.
Awesome.
Yes, that's right. That's very big, and just always to sit back and watch how somebody else does it. Because whether you're going to help build a building, you're thinking you're going to go over there and you know how to do it. But in the Honduras, yes, it wasn't a trip we were on, but it's one we knew about where this was the greatest example of that. They took all these tools, they went and bought tools while they were in Honduras, all these electric tools and all, and thought these Honduran craftsmen would just be in awe of all the tools they brought them. They said they used them about 10 minutes, laid them aside,
And to
went
wait.
back to the by hand way, because they still preferred that by hand way. So they had to adjust to working with them the way they work, but they did learn some more skills of what to do without your power tools. And it's a lot of times you think that when you go into a community that hasn't had as much education and things like that, there's a tendency to think that you must know better because you're more educated, this and that. But if you step back and humble yourself the way we're supposed to humble ourselves and listen, that the lack of education does not mean there's not a lack of intelligence. It's and sometimes our education can actually hinder
Right.
our ability
Right.
to see the most basic way to accomplish something.
Right. I love that. And sometimes the most basic way that God is taking care of us.
Exactly. We have more dependency on our education than God.
Amen. That's powerful. Never heard that. That's powerful. Well, we're coming towards the end. I want to thank you guys first of all, but I want to, before we end, I do want you to tell everybody about your community July. Can you tell us about that and where you guys are located now? You can
Well, July 10th, we're having an open house. We've been at Five Loaves, Two Fish for 1 year now. We want to celebrate it and open it up even more to the community. Of course, with the first year being COVID, not as many people would come in the doors, which we understand. But we're praying that now they feel more comfortable. And we just want to celebrate, give tours of the building. We're going to have hot dogs and hamburgers. We're going to have jumpy houses for the kids. Should have face painting. I say should because, until you get somebody melt down on that. But, and games like carnival games, and just celebrate and let people know, and then we'll, what we're about. And we're going to also open the doors for some city officials so they will kind of know what we're doing and what we're about and the vision.
Amen. Also, you all give us times, location, address.
Should be Five Loaves, Two Fish. Address is 3966 Lakeshore Drive. And it's going to be from 11 to 1 o'clock. Short time frame, but pack a lot of fun in 2 hours.
Love for you to come see us.
Amen. We should be public service as well. I want to say thank you all so much for your time this evening and what you guys mean to the body of Christ. The work that you all have done in the kingdom of God in this neighborhood. You guys will see Christ is going to say, well done. He's going to say, well done. So thank you all so much for what you mean to us in this ministry. And I believe that we just get started. You all are just getting started as well. So thank you guys for your time this evening to everybody coming and help those around.
Thank you for
Thank you.
giving us
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we want to thank you all for tuning in this evening to our Bible study. We pray that you all have been blessed by our special guest. And I'm telling y'all, we're just getting started. So if you're at Dream Big, you need to get your passports, get your visas. Pastor Butler and Pastor T, get up out of here. All right, so we're going to do the Lord's word, but I want to thank y'all once again for tuning in. Listen, we will be in the sanctuary Sunday at 10:30 a.m. It's our youth Sunday, our Takeover Youth Sunday, where our youth takes over our sanctuary. We let them do everything, so it's always our pack. We're going to have a young man who's going to bring the word. I believe for the first time, bringing the word is going to be powerful. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have a bunch of other things going on. Well, we know the Spirit of the Lord will be here because God knows His children. Right? So we want y'all to be here as well to support. So thank you all so much for being a part of what we do. You can always and also give to our ministry at dreambigleadership.org, or you can give a cash app and typically a flyer for you, $ Dream Big Leadership. Y'all know how I am. I don't believe that you should give unless God is compelling you to do it. So He's not asking you to do it, don't do it. But if He's put it on your heart to give and be a blessing to us, we thank you for it. That's the way that our ministry sustains. We function and we do what God has asked us to do. And we believe that we'll get there. So thank you all so much. And we're going to end with a word of prayer. Father, we just thank you for this evening. We thank you for the Son, Jesus Christ's sacrifice on Calvary's cross, the things that He's done for us, His ways are past finding out. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, neither has it entered into the heart of man. The things that Christ has prepared for His bride. I thank you for our special guest. Thank you for 5 loaves, 2 fish. Thank you for guiding Drena, the work that God has birthed through them in the earth. I thank you for God's divine protection. His all sufficient grace will be upon them, and God has provided the resources. He's sending people from the 4 corners of the earth who have their heart, who have the vision, the mission, and the passion for what God has given them. Thank you today, Lord God, that you are blessing our Dream Big Leadership Church. The mission and the vision is still possible. Lord, we have a deep dependency on you. We can't do it ourselves. We're but dust and ashes, but just a vapor. Oh God, you are our strength. You are our help. And God, we thank you that you are our Redeemer. And now unto Him that is able to keep us from falling and to present us faultless before His presence with exceeding joy. It's the only wise God, our Savior. We glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and forever. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, y'all be blessed.